Get a sound test 1, 2. I think we are good to go. So, cheers to Tuesday and cheers to what has gone from a comfortably numb market to a truly complacent market retail trading team. This is Mastro coming to you live from Puppet Show South with your routine briefing. So, apologies for missing yesterday. I tried my hardest. However, we had several layers of technical issues that complicated the production of our puppet show. So I'm back here today. Obviously, nothing really happened, so we didn't miss out too much, and we'll see if we can't get ready for. Second here, let me pull up a little live chat in case anybody's paying attention. We'll see if we can't get ready for tomorrow and the fun inevitability that I think is in our near future just based on the complete, like I said, complacency. So complacency is going to be the word of the day, and we're going to jump right into today's warm-up to see if we can't get some idea of what's going on in today's market. So we're going to go here. We're on the road, so that is why I say Puppet Show South, and that is why uh, it may be a little bit clunky in our transitions from one puppet to another. Oh, by the way, before we transition, so the nice thing about Puppet Show South is if you look behind me there, there you go. We have an actual puppet. So really exciting stuff. Really exciting stuff. Um, anyways, let's jump into the warm up and see what we got going here. We'll get a couple reps in Puppet Show South here, and it will not be clunky, I promise. Uh, Regardless, the quality will stay the same. So hopefully it's okay quality. Uh, in my opinion, I think we'll get some good value out of this today. So let me just confirm that everything is going through on the other screen, and looks like we're in business. So starting off, really nothing happened overnight. It was completely neutral and balanced, and you kind of saw that carry over to the first 30. The IBR, I didn't put that in here yet. The IBR was another very tight range there. So we have an IBR of, let's see, 33 to 42. So 10 points today. I forgot to update that. Um, and so you can see kind of just everybody's, I guess, preparing for tomorrow. The volume, if you look at that, is just really, really low. It's about 450,000 cards right now, which is uncommon for for a Tuesday. In fact, that is often what we see in the overnight or early morning session itself. So the volume's also kind of agreeing with us in that nothing's going on. Everyone seems to be waiting for tomorrow. Uh, we did have a bit of an important move yesterday, which we'll see when we jump into the charts. Yeah, just in terms of the warm up, you can see this TPO I'm still tinkering with. When we get to the TPO, you'll see it's particularly tight. So I'm going to call it neutral for now, but we'll see if that stands. So I'm watching here, 1050. Make sure we don't get that lower low because then we might be breaking down a little bit. So again, this warm up document, I don't know if I said it in this broadcast, but I say it all the time. Warm up document is in the description of this video if you want to hang out there. Not too many levels today. We're still in this tight consolidation pattern, so that's just kind of what I'm looking at so far today. And yeah, so I told you last week about Fabio in the future system that I have been tinkering with to make, I think, quite a good system, and we'll get into that later in the week. I just like I said, I want to just kind of get through this briefing today because I'm a little everything's a little clunky, so I want to just make sure everything flows nicely, and maybe we'll look at that when I get back to Pup Show Central on Thursday. So tomorrow we are going to not have a briefing just because it is FOMC minutes. There's that CPI going on, so really every major level from today is going to carry into tomorrow, and we'll make sure to cover all the important stuff today. So that's the warm up. I think we can jump right into the charts now. Analyze that and watch what happens here. So this is just starting with the execution chart. I did have a short on this morning, which I scratched at, or not scratched, but took a point about point and a half out at 35.25, just because I didn't really like what I was seeing here. So when I was talking about a couple of minutes ago, this consolidation pattern, this is that very clear bull flag that's been building really since the beginning of the month. And you saw yesterday we kind of pushed above it and saw the consolidation. Now we're trying to peak back below, so we'll see what happens there. I do favor the fake break on the long side, so we'll watch what happens when this candle prints. These yellow horizontals here are my major breakout or breakdown levels for today. So let's make this value area just a little tighter now that we've gone into it just a wee bit. So, okay. So why is that so thick? Well, this is the profile from Globex and yesterday. So Globex is obviously the smaller one on the side. In fact, let's move that up just for a little bit of clarity there. There we go. And then this is the profile from yesterday. So I really think that because we are, and we're still holding above it here, you can see it live what's happening here. We wicked the bottom there. If we hold above that, we get that green candle print. I'm watching this super closely. I think that makes for a good fake break. You look at volatility, still down, still red. Volatility cannot get a bid, and in fact, we're seeing that divergence as the market tries to make those, we'll say, tentative lower lows. You're seeing volatility do the opposite. So just kind of, I'll be looking at this execution chart closely here. Let me just make sure I don't get this entry. Stand by. This candle turns green. We're going to be good to go with a higher high at 50. So stand by. The one of you watching, thank you for tuning in. Oh, by the way, I neglected to take the sip again. So cheers again. Taking a little sippy sip. All right, so higher high, we're going to get involved here, and let's just confirm that level on the 10 minute. Going to be, as soon as we see 35.75 trade, I'm going to go ahead and hit the button here. Make sure everything's set up correctly. That's Fabio, da da da. Very good, very good. Okay. 35.75, then we'll continue the briefing. So again, I guess we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in the execution chart as we wait here. This is that flag pattern. We are currently above it. This is a really nice fake break to the downside. Again, remember that overnight low, overnight high is touched. I think it's 96% of the time, something like that. So we got that. We got the new extreme created. And if we can just pop back inside value on the upside here, that'll be that higher high. So we did close inside this value still. Like I said, that profile from yesterday is really the dominant one, especially as long as we hang out above that trend line. So I'm watching there. These are the breakout levels, just overnight high, overnight low once more. So the way that I'm going to play this, I guess we'll talk about Fabio a little bit since we're just hanging around waiting for the trade to trigger, is first comes off of that POC, which is right at about 40.41, and then the second, I just moved to break even or let it ride. And those mechanics, by the way, I'll flash it real quick here. If you go to the option strategy and management tab here, and you click on this little area, day trading strategy link. I think I got to click on the first. Yeah, the routine day trading. You can read about Fabio as he has been drawn up so far, and you can see it on those other tabs at the bottom there, the results. I've gone through it twice. I'm working through it a third time very carefully, where I'm only doing 1 or 2 a day just to make sure and really check against any bias. But you can see the results are quite good. It is definitely an improvement on Barb in every way, and yeah, we'll see if that holds. So 35.75, that's a magic number. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with the briefing. I got another computer on my lap here. We will just hop back to it. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. We'll hop back and take that entry if we get it. So let's look at the macro picture while we wait here. So again, no briefing tomorrow. So the way that I'm going to frame this is less for today. Again, I don't expect anything to happen today, as nothing's happened in a long time. Obviously, as mentioned, we did break above that important flag, but I don't expect to see too much follow through until tomorrow, if we see any follow through at all. The last flag we had was actually here at February, near that February high, and we did end up breaking down on that, so the flag did fail. So you're seeing kind of that same look here. The question is whether we fail or if we do get that continuation this time into this zone here, and near that, this line here is the 4th standard deviation of VWAP. So you can see those two candles. I have enough arrows and lines, but just want to draw your attention to this red one here and this green one here. Those are both outside bars. So obviously one is outside bar to the downside, one is to the upside. So those are really important supports and resistance levels. 406 on the SPY and on the downside on the SPY, and 412 on the upside. So we're getting a bit of a move here. See if we can't get involved. Okay, lost you there for a brief second. Apologies, I was just staring at the screen, so didn't miss out on too much. Still waiting for this entry. Very slow moving, dull market. Okay, I'm going to go back because we're losing that 34 level again. Maybe. A point is a lot in 19 vol, I suppose. You can see that the /VX. In fact, let's look at that as we wait here. What do I mean by divergence that I mentioned earlier? You can see the /VX is actually making lower lows on the day, and again testing the underside of that trend line down here. So this is kind of the channel. This is a new contract, by the way. What is this? The K contract of /VX. We're testing this. I think it's called a descending wedge, and we're now really in this entering, if you want to call it a demand zone. Again, I don't want to offend anybody who says that charting volatility is a chart crime. I don't know if I agree or disagree, but we'll call this a demand zone because it is a futures contract right here, and that is from the low of February. So there's the descending wedge, and then that is the kind of zone that I'm watching for either a rebid on the upside, uh, toward the upside rather, for volatility, or for us to finally break through as we see that continuation in the market. And again, as we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, that 22 level. As I look at it here, I was thinking that above 2180, you might see that continuation, but I think there's a lot more to get through. It was really when we had this potential developing inverse head and shoulders. I'll draw a little ellipse right about here. When we had that potential inverse head and shoulders, that 2180 seemed like we could see that move from there, especially as we popped it, but you saw that failure. So now I think it's really that entire 22 handle almost is going to be a form of supply, if you will. So watching that descending wedge there, watching what happens on the underside here, still waiting on 35.75 to trade for potential entry. It's got to happen in the next 3 minutes, or I am not getting an entry. Um, so we'll see what happens there. And just going back to the macro chart as we wait, we have those two key areas of support and resistance. So 406 and 412, just to reiterate, are those all important levels, I think, on the SPY. And if we do break to the downside, you'll watch what happens around that gap at 402 and around that other gap at about 396. So the specific levels on those are 407.24 and 401.35 to 401.60, depending on if you're looking for the low versus the close. So that is our macro picture there. Again, if we break to the upside, we just got to watch what happens with these trend lines that we've been watching. So 412 and 406, I think, are the immediate most important levels. What happens relative to those as tomorrow's catalysts come up. So that's a macro look. You see what volatility is doing. And then just the final chart for today is going to be this TPO. I'll zoom out just a wee bit. Really, all I'm looking at is what's circled in that ellipse there. That TPO is from yesterday and in a little bit from the days before. If the single does pop in there and excuse me, if price does pop in there and clean up that single, I will move, I will merge these two as well. So the levels that I'm watching there, as you can see, are that 4075, that 4085, 4165, and 4191 area. There's a couple singles, a couple a poor high above, poor low below, but really everything in that ellipse is what I'm watching for tomorrow. Obviously today, again, I don't really think much is going to happen today, but hypothetically, if it does, those are the levels that I'm watching there, and those are reflected in that warm-up document. And if they're missing, I will make sure to add them. Let me just go double check, make sure we got them all. So again, 412, 406 SPY, and on the ES, 4075, well, really 4075 to 80, we'll say. Oops, 1 second. So 4075, 85, upside 4165. I don't really think that's a zone, so this is a island value area here. It is from a Globex session, so although you will respect the technicality of that being what it is, I'm really not so concerned about the zone so much as that level itself. So obviously that 4150 is always one of those always important psychological levels, but in terms of areas that I'm looking for a trade, it's going to be that 4165 and then really 80 to 91. So I will say 80 to 90. I'll put in the little chart here, 4180 to 90. And yeah, so those are the levels. Again, on the warm-up document, they will stay current. For tomorrow, I'm just going to basically copy and paste those same levels unless something special happens today. I'm not going to complicate that. Profile's looking a little bit like normal variation as the day goes on, though. If we zoom in here to just today, that is a picture perfect if you'll say normal variation profile. So we'll see if there is some type of movement as the day goes on. So just to go back to the execution chart one more time. See what we got going on here. So we did, I think we just traded 75. Unfortunately, for my mechanics, it has to be consecutive. So the candle right after. So not looking like I'm gonna get a trade here unless we make a lower low again and start over. So this will be the second time this year, if I don't get a trade today, that I've had 2 days in a row with no signal. What happened last time? Well, we had quite a bit of volatility and fun in the ensuing weeks. So we'll see what happens there. So besides that, I will be on Twitter at Routine Trader for anybody who wants to engage. Not too active, obviously. I shouldn't say obviously. I will not be on Twitch just because I do not have my pretty musical equipment here. So I'll pop on there, maybe play a set just to say hi to some of my friends there. But in terms of the normal scheduled Twitch programming, we will not be having that today or again until Thursday. But yeah, hit me up on Twitter if you want to engage. You can also respond to the newsletter, which I'm going to push out right after this, and of course the comment section of this video. And finally, if you did enjoy today's content, despite obviously the semi clunkiness of the away show here, please give it a like. That does help with the YouTube's algorithm, and I will appreciate it. So, in any and all cases, enjoy your days. Let's get ready and excited for tomorrow. Obviously, manage risk and be aware that we are in an extremely complacent market, and that's when what's the term? Risk happens slowly and then all at once. So, with that ripped off wisdom, I'm gonna wish you a happy day and stay classy until Thursday.